Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a second video for you guys from Cartoon Universe. This one, another one focusing on Hazbin Hotel, except on the prequel comics this time. So in case you don't know, there are two prequel comics, one that focuses on the character of Angel Dust and the other one focusing on the character of Alistair, the one that you can see right in front of you on the screen. Now, if you haven't read them, I do recommend you go read them. You can find them on the Hazbin Hotel official website. I think you can read them for free if you want. So I do recommend you go check them out. Now, let's just go ahead and full screen this and watch the video. Now, before we do, as always, I have to ask you guys that if you want to support the channel, consider clicking on the like button, sharing the video, and subscribing if you haven't, especially subscribe. So let's go ahead and play the video.
You all know that Hazbin Hotel only has one episode out on YouTube right now, but while they're working on future episodes, they managed to release several prequels in various forms, from the music video to the comics, and whatever else may come. So let's discuss them all now. Before we jump into that, I just want to remind you guys about our Discord server where you can come talk about all sorts of cartoons such as Hazbin Hotel. I'll put a link in a pinned comment down below, and now let's jump into it. Now, of course, everyone here should know about the Hazbin Hotel music video, Addict, which serves as a sort of character piece prequel for Angel, but I don't think a lot of people notice that it isn't meant to be taken entirely literally. In the show and in the comics, which we'll get to next, Angel is presented as an adult film star, and Valentino is described as owning adult film studios. While it is entirely possible that he does own a nightclub and makes Angel perform there, this seems to be more of a representation of their relationship. Angel being forced to perform for large audiences, Val watching from a distance and enjoying himself, and the smoke from the angel dust being what keeps Angel doing his job when he starts to think about doing something else with his life. This is a more acceptable visual representation than having Angel sing while performing in an adult film, for instance. That being said, it may be entirely possible that a nightclub like this is something that Val actually owns and runs, but at the very least, it is reasonable to believe that Angel and Cherry did not actually blow it up one night. Instead, it was a symbolic representation of Angel choosing to leave that life behind him, and instead go stay at the Hazbin Hotel and build something new for himself while living there. After all, in the pilot, we see that he is still working for Val to some extent, something I doubt he would be doing if he had blown up the nightclub to get away from him, and I don't imagine that Val would have let him get away with it either. The fact that Angel can't escape him at the hotel tells me that if he had blown it up, Val probably would have found out about it and punished him accordingly. The music video also shines a light on Cherry, who, like most characters in the show, wasn't presented as particularly deep in the pilot. Here, however, we see that she isn't just a party girl who wants to blow things up and win this strange turf war in Pentagram City, but rather she has some sadness or grief inside of her over what happened to the loss of a loved one. We aren't quite sure who this character is yet, but many people have speculated he is related to Angel in some way because of his hair. However, Angel design is a very common one seen throughout the creator's work, with her saying that she had to redesign entire characters before because they looked too similar to Angel without being related to him. And she has gone on the record as saying that this person is not related to Angel. Instead, I think this person
I always thought that was a bit of a
Cherry,
stretch.
as they have the same singular eye with an X on it, though he may also be some love interest who was killed off by the exterminators or has met some other terrible fate that took him away from her. It's a pretty serious moment for a character that has been mostly presented as fun-loving and silly up to this point, though that is apparently the intention behind the music video as a whole, with one of the creators saying that it is meant to mark a tonal shift in the show. While I'm sure it will still be just as fun and adventurous as in the pilot, it's becoming increasingly clear that the actual goal of the series is to do some very serious storytelling. This is best exemplified by the post-credits scene, where we see Angel talk about his addictions without the techno music blasting. Up until that point, the song had been talking about giving into your addictions in a somewhat positive way. These people know they're a mess, but they enjoy the mess they've made and want to have more fun with it. This moment, however, is akin to a hangover, where you come down from your high and realize what a mess you're in now, and you're feeling the pain from it. In a moment of dark beauty, Angel expresses how what he really is addicted to is that low feeling that comes with the hangover, the sadness and self-loathing that he finds himself in, that ultimately keeps him coming back for more, purposely sabotaging his life. Thankfully for him, it ends up on a bit of a hopeful note as Angel takes his first step in putting his addiction away, at least this once. Hazbin Hotel also has prequel comics, the first of which helps expand on Angel's story as well, and giving us a more literal depiction of what happened leading up to him meeting Charlie. There was no blowing up of nightclubs, but rather he actually tried just finding a different place for himself in Valentino's dirty dealings by trying to force his way into a drug deal. This goes wrong when the mob sharks turn on him. He manages to shoot them all, but that just means he's ruined relations with the client. Angel likely thought he could handle it, as his family is known for their web of crime both in life and there in hell, but it ultimately just made Valentino mad at him and insist he has to work extra hard as an escort to pay him back. The comic ends with Charlie investing in Angel and convincing him to stay at the Happy Hotel, though only because his pride wouldn't let him say that he was unsavable, as opposed to some dramatic moment of realizing he needed to get his life together and that their resources could help him do it. Very recently, they also released a second Hazbin prequel comic, this time about a day in the life of Alistair, most of which is told visually with very minimal dialogue. In it, we see Alistair just enjoying a day in the city, and as he passes through, almost every single demon recognizes him and shows absolute fear. The creators of the show have said that hell has its own wildlife, and for the first time, we actually get to see this in the form of some demonic birds that Alistair feeds some deviled eggs to while at a restaurant. They then go on to terrorize the restaurant workers, something that pleases Alistair, and starts this little character piece that shows his very strange sense of morality. While in the park, we see Alistair take pleasure in using his powers to make a rose instantly wilt, but then seems to try and strike up casual conversation with two other demons who end up running off before he can finish saying hello. This seems like it's building up this idea that Alistair is lonely because his power alienates other people, but he does not frown or show any issue with the way that people avoid him, despite seeming friendly enough for some of them, as we have seen both here and in the show. Instead, we see Alistair go to the cannibal colony, and find that the people there seem much more open to talking to him. In fact, he tosses his hat into a group of lady demons eating someone, and they seem to fangirl over it, indicating that not only do cannibals make friends with him, but that he is something of a prize in that community. He also asked them to give his regards to Rosie, a character seen painting a sign in the pilot to cross out the name of Franklin, someone who seemingly died during the extermination. This character is someone the creators have said will be appearing in the show as a friend of Alistair's, and the two will have a singing number together. Here, we also see him give more money to a street performer, further adding to the mystery of where Alistair draws his line with his morality. Finally, the story ends with Alistair entering a new butchery where they cut up demons and sell the meat. Alistair has to threaten the man, who seems to be abusive to a previous customer as well, but ultimately gets his order. On his way out, a lamb-based demon comes in, and the butcher immediately tries to grab and slay them. Alistair returns, goes into his full demon form, and ends up eating the butcher, saying that attacking someone of fairer means, like the lamb, is distasteful. This paints a really strange picture of his character, and I don't mean the artwork. He has no problem with cannibalism, seeing not only when it's an enemy, but just random meat he can buy, but finds it distasteful to do it to someone simply for them being smaller, or perhaps female, as fair is often used to refer to women.
See, the thing for me is the way I always interpreted that scene is that it wasn't him sort of, when he said fair means, I don't think he necessarily meant smaller or female. I think he probably meant, this is just me, of course. I think he probably meant that someone who was just weaker. It probably says something about him that he doesn't like it when someone exerts their power over someone that they know is weaker than them, which to me is a little bit weird because we've seen him, well, maybe not. I mean, we kind of saw him, I guess a lot of people may see it as a little bit hypocritical because we've seen him do it, but if you think about it, he never really did that, at least as far as we know. I mean, in the pilot, when he exerted his power on Serpentius, he only did it because Serpentius attacked him, so you could say he was doing it in self-defense. Not that there was a part of him that didn't enjoy it, but technically Serpentius did attack him first. And if you think about it, it does kind of line up with his behavior. I mean, when he showed up at the hotel, he knocked, he was polite, he asked if he could speak or if he could come in or whatever. Well, actually, he didn't ask to come in, he just let himself in. So that's a little bit of hypocritical of him. So just letting himself in. So well, maybe not hypocritical, mostly rude. So that's to me that's kind of how I always interpret that scene where he, I guess, doesn't like it when someone exerts their power over someone else, especially if they know that they can't fight back. I guess that's what he just finds distasteful. Like, he doesn't like it when people pick on someone else, especially when they know they can't fight back, and they refuse to go against someone whom they know can fight back, and in some case can, in Alistair's case, kill you.
The fairer sex.
But again, that's just me.
Considering the demon came to the butchery seemingly to buy her own cannibal dinner, it seems like a weird standard to hold, but Alistair does come from an era that held men and women to very different standards compared to today, so that may be a part of it. More Hazbin Hotel comics are planned for the future, likely for the other cast members until episodes start coming out, but the creator has expressed interest in an entire prequel comic series about Charlie and Vaggie first meeting and some adventure.
By the way, if they do come out with the comics and you guys want me to cover them on this channel, just let me know about it in the comments.
Sure, the two end up on together. The idea was compelling enough that she had to change Vaggie's character so that she died rather recently, in order to accommodate the story, so I hope we do get something out of it soon. Like and subscribe to the channel, and when it comes out, we'll be sure to talk about it.
Okay, so there it is. And like I said, I think I said in the previous video that, because we don't really have a lot of content to work with, all we have are mostly, or all we will have for the foreseeable future are a bunch of theories. Although we do have Hell of a Boss, and it does give us a little bit of an insight into how Hell kind of works in this universe, even though none of the Hazbin characters show up. And so those were all the prequels. You had the music video, they had the Angel Dust comic, and you also had the Alistair comic, which to me, that's the one that I like the most. But then again, that's just me personally. Maybe you guys feel different. Let me know about it in the comments, and while you're there, maybe consider leaving a like, sharing the video, subscribe if you haven't, especially subscribe, and that way you can help me get to that 1,000 sub mark. And also remember to click on the bell icon, because that way you will know whenever a new video comes out. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and do all the YouTube things. Remember to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.